Good afternoon. I'm George Latimer, Westchester County Executive. Welcome to the front steps of the McKalian Office Building, where we are gathered together to remember and honor those victims and survivors of domestic violence. We're here also to raise awareness and to show our community solidarity and support for prevention efforts and all of the available resources through the county government and through those non-for-profit organizations that have been committed to working with both the victims and the survivors in the area of domestic violence. We have today participation from the Westchester County Board of Legislators, from the executive branch of the Westchester County government that includes many of our different departments, and organizations that include Hope's Door, Legal Services of the Hudson Valley, My Sister's Place, the Pace Women's Justice Center, Victims Assistance Services, and New Dawn. We're joined today by our Deputy County Executive, Ken Jenkins. In a few minutes, you'll be hearing from the Chair of the Westchester County Board of Legislators, Vedat Gashi. We're also joined by members of the Board of Legislators, Erica Lang-Pierce, representing Bedford and the northeastern portion of Westchester, Ben Boykin, legislator, former chairman of White Plains, lives in White Plains, representing White Plains and surrounding communities, Scarsdale and West Harrison. We're joined by Jewel Williams-Johnson, resident of Greenburgh, who represents Greenburgh and parts of White Plains. Nancy Barr, legislator from Rye Brook, Portchester, and part of Harrison. Judah Holstein, legislator from Eastchester, New Rochelle, and Tuckahoe. And David Imamura, legislator representing portions of Greenburgh and some of the river villages. And we expect to be joined by other legislators who are here. If we're joined by any members of the state legislative delegation, we will introduce them as well. It's very important to understand that for many, many years, the issue of domestic violence was a hidden issue. It was something that happened inside a home, perhaps inside a place of work, and it wasn't spoken of. Heads would turn silent. People would drop voices or say nothing at all. And that silence tolerated the violence. And those victims, primarily women, suffered in silence, had to live their lives seeing a person close to them, a person they loved or respected in the workplace, also serve as a violent abuser. And the children, the young people of those couples also saw the same thing, to the point where in years to come, some of those children repeated that violent behavior because they saw it in their home at a young age. We've tried in this society now to push back against that silence. The great work that's been done has been done by the not-for-profit groups that we recognize here today, because they took the lead in the society and forced government to acknowledge and to act. And this county government, under this administration and prior administrations, finally heard the call. Now today, we light a candle of recognition and a candle of hope. We recognize these organizations, and you're going to hear from the individuals in a second, each of whom will speak a bit about their point of view, their perspective, and what their organization does. But we only successfully push back against domestic violence when we do it all together. When we merge together the need for mental health services, the need for supportive services, housing support, and then also the need to treat breaking of the law as a law enforcement matter as well, so that the proper behavior is raised up as appropriate, and the improper behavior is identified as abhorrent in the society and not tolerated anymore. I'd like to ask the Chair of the Board of Legislators, the Honorable Vedat Gashi, to share some of his thoughts, and then I will in sequence call upon many of our other guests who are here. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, County Executive, and thank you all for joining us as we recognize Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Home should be a sanctuary, but for far too many, it is a place of fear. And that's why we, this year at the Westchester County Board of Legislators, were proud to pass legislation to provide victims and survivors of domestic violence and their families with free lock changes. It's a simple yet profound act that can mean the difference between fear and safety. I want to thank specifically Legislator David Imamura for first bringing it to my attention, but in fact our entire board, because we worked unanimously to make this idea become a reality. And it's in fact the fastest I've ever seen a law go from an idea to actual legislation, which proves that when we act with urgency, we can make meaningful change. And I believe we did. And while I'm proud of the strides we've made, we know that this work is far from done. Domestic Violence Awareness Month reminds us the staggering truth that domestic violence knows no boundaries. It affects people across every community, regardless of gender, race, class, or creed. And it touches far too many families, neighbors, and friends. It's a crisis and we must confront it. It's an intimidating problem, but I take solace in the fact that we stand shoulder to shoulder with fierce advocates, starting with County Executive George Latimer, Deputy County Executive Ken Jenkins, Robbie Schlaff at the Office of Women, and especially our incredible community partners that were mentioned already, but they're worth mentioning again. People working for the Pace Women's Law, the Justice Center, Hope's Door, Legal Services in the Hudson Valley, My Sister's Place, Westcott Victims Assistance Services, New Dawn Family Resource Center, and of course so many others. You are a lifeline for those in need, and we at the Board of Legislators are incredibly proud to help support your work. Thank you, of course, to the survivors taking part today. Your courage and determination are an inspiration and truly appreciated. We at the Westchester County Board of Legislators are committed to this cause and will not rest until every survivor feels safe, supported, and heard, not just in October, but every single day. Thank you again to all the advocates, partners, and survivors for your relentless efforts. Your work is not just appreciated, it's life-saving. And we will continue to do that work until every home in Westchester is truly a sanctuary. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Vadakgashi. I failed to recognize County Legislator James Nolan, who is with us as well. My apologies, James. Next, we're going to ask Westchester County Legislator Terry Clemens to share her thoughts.
Thank you, County Legislator, County Executive Latimer. Hello, everyone. Thank you to my colleagues, our partners who are committed full-time to this essential cause, and esteemed guests for joining us today. A special thanks to you, Chairman Gashi, for your leadership in advancing our vital mission and ensuring the victims of domestic violence can find safety in their homes. Your commitment to this cause is invaluable. Together, we are united in our goal to raise awareness, remove stigma, and provide essential services so that those affected by domestic violence are safe and secure. As Chairman of Public Safety, I prioritize resident safety. As an educator, I understand the vital link between a safe home and student success. It cannot be overstated. I'm proud to have voted for the safety measures for survivors of the Domestic Violence Acts, co-sponsored by Legislator David Imamura and Legislator Emiliana Ulai, which offer critical support like free lock changes to help survivors thrive. Let's continue to work together to empower those who need and build a stronger, more compassionate community. Thank you all for your commitment to this mission. Thank you so much.
Next, we'll invite to speak Robbie Schlaff, who's director of our Office for Women and has made a long-term commitment to work on issues that affect women, particularly domestic violence. Robbie?
Thank you. So it is long-term. I was standing here and I was thinking that it's probably 4 decades that I've been working on this issue, representing adult victims and children, and then being appointed by George Latimer, my boss, my friend, my colleague, to run this office. And I can't thank you enough, County Executive, for the support that you've shown to victims and survivors throughout the county. And I want to give you a round of applause, really. I want to give a special shout out to Carla Horton for spearheading this event. So today, as everybody said, we shine the light to acknowledge domestic violence victims and survivors. We hold abusers accountable, and we want to be a voice for change. We are here to hear your voices, not to speak for you, but to hear from you. And you are the ones that break the silence of abuse. And we want to let you know that we stand with you. So the Office for Women, along with the partners here, can offer help. Our office is located, we have our main office in White Plains, but we have offices located all 3 family courts in Yonkers, New Rochelle, and White Plains, and people can walk in and get assistance within the courthouse. We are very proud of our high-risk team. I don't know if other speakers are going to talk about it, probably Fred Green, but this is an incredible model for the state and the country, looking at the most serious cases of domestic violence that deserve extra attention to provide safety for families. So we just want to let you know that you can get in touch with any of us here, with my office, with any of the folks here, if you or someone you know needs help with family violence. And I want to thank you for being here.
An important part of the response to domestic violence is a prosecutorial response. And we're very fortunate that our District Attorney, Mimi Rocha, has been committed to playing that important role on these issues. We're joined today by Frederick Green, who's the 2nd Deputy District Attorney, Chief Special Prosecutions Division.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, County Executive Latimer. So I represent a different part of the response to domestic violence in the county, and that's the law enforcement and prosecution response. And I stand here before you as a prosecutor and as a litigator, but most importantly, what I think is my most important mission in my work is to be the victim survivor representative and advocate in the court system, and I relish that that responsibility. So on behalf of DA Rocha, who couldn't be here today, but on behalf of her and her office and my amazing colleagues from the Special Prosecutions Division, many of whom are here today, thank you guys for coming. I want to thank you for being here today and inviting me to be a part of this presentation. I want you to just think for a minute of how much domestic violence we're seeing in the court system. It's worth noting the Domestic Violence Bureau of the DA's office prosecutes thousands of cases every year in the county. It's a shocking number. It's an incredibly high number. It's way too high that there should be so many cases, and it's consistent every year. So it really doesn't decrease. And I would defy anybody in the court system or in the community to identify a crime type that happens with that frequency in our system and that somewhat gets tolerated. It's unacceptable for there to be that much domestic violence in our community. I want you to know that in the District Attorney's Office, we do a lot to respond to domestic violence, in addition to just having all the people who the DA has assigned to do this work. We do a lot. We adopt an approach of digging deeper on every case so that we can really dig underneath the surface of what's just happening at the moment to really get at the heart of what survivors are enduring. We are committed to training anybody who will listen to our training, whether they be other prosecutors within our office, law enforcement throughout the county and the state, anyone in the court system, and our wonderful community partners who work with us in advocacy. We are all in the DA's office, in commitment to the high-risk team that Robbie spoke about, and in bringing a high-risk lens to the investigation of every case of domestic violence and considering it when we're thinking about victim safety and victim advocacy. We are committed in the DA's office to being a part of doing lethality assessment in every case of domestic violence that police respond to in any of the more than 40 communities in the county where police are responding to DV. And I think I could say here with Carla and Robbie standing next to me that all of the advocacy agencies in the county know that when they ask for the DA's office for support on any initiative that they're working on, we always say yes. We're in on everything. I stand before you as a person who has prosecuted and litigated many, many cases, far too many cases of domestic violence, and sadly, far too many cases of domestic violence homicide. So I am relentless to the team that I work with on the importance of us being all in and recognizing the importance of domestic violence and our aggressive commitment to taking care of victims and making sure offenders are accountable. But there's always more to do. There's always more to do. Tomorrow, Robbie has organized for our county our annual police training conference that's going to take place in Eastchester. We do it every year. The county executive will speak at it and kick off our proceeding tomorrow, but we'll have hundreds of law enforcement officers there, and the conference will be a focus on domestic violence issues and really ground all of the officers and renew in them the attention that we want them to have in responding to family offenses. In the DA's office, as we kick off Domestic Violence Awareness Month, we're going to have a program where all the assistant district attorneys are invited to a listening session where they're going to listen to survivors of domestic violence, speak to them, not in the typical way where we're preparing them for appearing in court, but in really just listening to their experiences and trying to understand them on a more elemental nature than really just getting them ready to appear in the courtroom. So I want to thank you all for being here with me and inviting me to be a part of this today. I want to salute all of my partners in advocacy, in law enforcement, again, my colleagues in the office, for everyone's commitment. We need this audience to go out and be ambassadors wherever you're going to shine a light on this and to raise up so that everyone is aware of the pervasiveness of domestic violence and the danger. We're aware of it in the court system, and we're taking it into account in every case that we work on. Let's continue to shine a light on this problem. Thank you.
There isn't an individual who has done more for a longer period of time to shine a light on this issue than our next speaker, Carla Horton. She has led when there was very few other people following. And now as you begin to see the consensus in the county, Carla, you have to see this as part of your legacy and what's been accomplished so far, and how much more is yet to be done will happen because there is this kind of a consensus in the county to push back on domestic violence. Carla Horton.
Thank you all. So we're shining a light on domestic violence, but in the couple of minutes that I'm going to take here now, I want to shine a light on my sister agencies who really do the heavy lifting, working with survivors every day. And so I asked each of the agencies to provide me a quote that one of the people they served had written to them. And in no particular order, Pace Women's Justice Center. There are truly no words to express my gratitude to Pace Women's Justice Center. With your incredible legal help and guidance, I feel you've given me a second chance at life. Eternally grateful. Legal Services of the Hudson Valley. Legal Services fought tirelessly for me Because of their advocacy, I got custody of my children, a final order of protection, and my Article 10 case dismissed. I really hope that everyone facing what I face can have that level of support that they gave me, because it made all the difference. My sister's place. Thank you so much to all the people who work at my sister's place. You made our family complete. We are able to have jobs, and my siblings are studying while working. We will be forever grateful. New Dawn. I want to thank New Dawn for your incredible support. I didn't even realize how much I needed it. Knowing that someone is out there caring about what is happening to me somehow made me feel better. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Victims Assistance Services. They offered me a safe place to process the trauma I experienced while educating me about its effects and the cycle of abuse. Thankfully, the services are completely free, which allows us to focus on healing without the worry of financial barriers or delays in treatment. And my favorite quote from Hope Store. Hope Store has given me the courage and hope I never had before, and has allowed me to become the woman I was meant to be, strong, courageous, and most of all, free.
Those organizations that Carla just referenced are now going to receive proclamations from Westchester County, so I invite members of the Board of Legislators, Ken Jenkins on behalf of the executive branch, Robbie as well, to participate. And these proclamations, which we see over here, can be presented to the representatives. This is suitable for photographing, for those of you who are here with that purpose. And these proclamations recognize Hope Store, Legal Services of the Hudson Valley, My Sister's Place, Pace Women's Justice Center, Victims Assistance Services, and New Dawn. And the proclamations from the Board of Legislators will, and I'm not sure how this was sequenced, but it triggers having their names of these organizations up on the Jumbotron in front of the county center, which means that somebody is going to be tasked with each agency to go over there and take a picture of the Jumbotron when it has that, because it's suitable for social media. But I have representatives and legislative representatives. Please stand there for various photographs. Why don't we do that before we continue the program? Any of your legislators want to
George, let's ask them individually to the organization.
You do them individually? You couldn't call them up individually? Okay, all right. Very good.
Come back.
So we're going to recognize each organization individually. The first one is Hope's Door. Carla, whoever's going to receive it from Hope's Door. Very good. Thank you, Stacy Newman. As I said, suitable for photographing. Please. And legislators, please focus. This is your moment. Inside. Hope Store is the first one. We have 6 more to go. Are we good? All right. The second honoree, Legal Services of the Hudson Valley. I'm sorry. This is why supermodels make so much money. This is not easy stuff. Okay. The third organization is My Sister's Place.
Did you discuss this with No? You're going to do it? Oh, yes, that makes a lot of sense. I don't know why I didn't think
The next organization is Pace Women's Justice Center. Good. Next, we want to recognize Victims Assistance Services. And now we'd like to recognize New Dawn. Join me in recognizing all of the agencies with a round of applause. I'm going to invite Carla Horton to return to the podium. She has a personal story and a poem reading to share, and then she will trigger the lighting of the candles and give us the background.
Thank you. Picking up the phone, doing a web chat, sending a text to any one of our organizations may be the bravest thing a survivor of domestic violence ever does. But unfortunately, there are times that survivors don't reach out or reach out and don't get all the help they need. So today, we're going to hold up a symbolic candle. We will not be lighting them. But we're going to remember the people who aren't here, whose lives were cut short because of domestic violence. I ask that we let their memories be a constant reminder to how important the work that we do is, how important it is to break the silence and reach out for help, and to support your friends, family, loved ones, co-workers, members of your faith community when they drop the smallest little hint of what it is they're going through. So if folks could have their candles ready, I call out these names. Alyssa Hockman, 18, Sister Deanna, 13. Amy Friedlander, mother, daughter Molly, age 10, son Gregory, age 8. Anna DeLucia, Ann Scripps Douglas, Deborah Riggs Clancy, Dorothy Lou and her children, Tennyson, age 7, and Adeline, age 4. Elizabeth Butler, just 17. Faith Lippy, Gabriella Boyd, talk about a life cut short. She was 2 years old. Gabriella White, little older. She only made it to 7. Hilda Aguna, Janet Carlucci, Jeffrey Shribman, Jennifer Katz, John Alarcone, Justin Woodward, just 17 himself. Caleb Carvalho made it to 3. Kathy Durst. The inspiration for our high-risk program in many ways, Loretta Dim and her daughter Caroline. She made it to 18. Robin Goldman, Sabrina Duran, and Sharon Contreras. May their memories inspire us to continue to do the life-saving work we know needs to be done. I thank you all. And may we have another moment of silence. Thank you.
Friends, may we take away from this a remembrance of those that we've lost and a commitment to lose no one else to this. That these candles that we have represent a symbolic light that we want to shine in every corner of the area that we live in, to all the people that we love, to reach those people who are in stages of anger that might lead them to domestic violence, to bring them back from that edge so that we have no more names to add to that list in the years to come. May we do that, make a prayer to whatever we consider to be our source of faith, and rely on each other to make good on that commitment. Thank you for coming today. Thank you again to all who participated, particularly to Carla Horton for her leadership in making sure that we have a vigil like this.